All right, so how reliable are the polls when it comes to predicting winners in the primary races? Not so reliable in New Hampshire.
Woo. That's right. The polls had Barack Obama winning in New Hampshire the day before, but eventually voters picked Hillary Clinton as a winner. So do people actually tell the truth when they're being polled? Let's ask Republican pollster Chris Wilson. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
About 2 weeks ago, I got a phone call, naturally, around dinner time. And it was a pollster, and they wanted to ask me a whole bunch of questions about different presidential candidates. And some of the questions were very pointed, and I thought, should I tell them what I really think or what I think would probably be a better answer to make me look like a good person? You know what I mean?
I do, and we actually try and time our calls right during your dinner time.
Thank you very much.
It's working. But Chris, I mean, if people... one of the theories about why New Hampshire was such a debacle in terms of polling was because people lie to pollsters. So if people are lying to pollsters, how can we ever trust polls, and how can we believe any of the polls leading up to Super Tuesday now?
Well, I think there is a few different ways to look at this. And New Hampshire was a bit of an anomaly when you look at the season. I mean, pollsters got it right on Michigan. They got it right on Iowa, which Iowa's a caucus state. Very difficult to approach. But New Hampshire, I think a few things happen. One is independents can vote in either primary, which means when you build a sample frame that is who you decide to interview and call at dinner time, you have to determine how many of independents you put in the Democratic primary, how many you put in the Republican primary. And pollsters pretty much got it right on the Republican side, which means that sample was correct. But I think some of the media organizations, Fox News was not as part of it, of course, overestimated the excitement amongst independents for Barack Obama. And because of that, they oversampled independents as a part of their sample frame, that is, those people being interviewed, and that, therefore, overestimated the support for Barack Obama. So they weren't really lying, they just asked the wrong people when they came to interviewing Democrats.
So, Chris, in fact, Fox News, you're right, had the closest to the right answer regarding the outcome on the Democratic side. But you talked about who they asked questions about. On the Republican side, it's all white males. Meanwhile, on the Democrat side, they've never asked a lot of questions about a woman running for president or a black American running for president.
And that's exactly right, and there's no question that plays a part in it. It's something called the Bradley effect or the Bradley Wilder effect, and what that is it says that those people being interviewed may not be likely to give an answer they think the interviewer might make them a racist or be socially unacceptable or situationally unpopular, and so because of that they may have been less likely to say they're voting for Hillary Clinton or more likely to say they're voting for Barack Obama. And there's no question that played a role in some of the polling, particularly those that were pretty far off in New Hampshire.
So, Chris, are you saying they might have said, I would be willing to vote for Barack Obama even if they didn't like him simply because they thought the pollster might think they were a racist?
Well, that's exactly right, and that's what the Bradley effect is about, is that they are going to say something different just because they don't want to think that they're being judged by the person on the other end of the phone. There's ways to deal with that with good polling, but I think some of the stuff going to New Hampshire was done a little quick, a little too loose, and particularly some of the things that had Barack Obama's numbers growing substantially were probably a little bit too high with independents in terms of the number that were sampled, and therefore, again, a lot of media organizations projected their excitement about Obama, which we saw being admitted into their sampling.
Yeah, and we've still seen a number of correspondents injecting their excitement over Barack Obama as well.
Well, Chris Wilson, GOP pollster, thank you for joining us this morning. I mean, let's hope that they can correct these things before all the polling for Super Tuesday. So we
and correct dinner time calls, too.
There you go. All right.
Thanks,
Brian?
Chris.